Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hello, checking in on the market rundown, looking at SPY. So the bears had the majority of the control to end the week. We had the gap down open on Thursday morning, and then Friday we had a higher open, but we could have the easy benchmark to remind ourselves that anything under 28, make that 286.93. Anything under that level is just a lower high, so certainly not getting too excited for the bulls on Friday. And we ended with some weakness, so the question now is this just a little bear flag bounce before we get another leg down? I think a lot of that is going to depend on oil, and oil next week. I'll look at that in the commodities video in a day or two, but if oil gets an oversold bounce with any kind of meaningful follow-through, it can only be interpreted as a potential temporary relief, in my opinion, because oil has a lot of work to try and recover any kind of strength or momentum after the end of the week that we just had. So the question is SPY going to get another leg down? I think that's the more likely scenario at this point. But if we break 280, 279.93 to be exact, we are not losing the uptrend yet on the weekly time frame. It just increases the odds that we will pretty significantly because that level's right down there at 277.64. That's the level where we lose the weekly uptrend if it is lost. So two key support levels to be watching into next week. And again, the lower high of resistance on the daily time frame, some clear levels of resistance. IWM has been weaker. Inside bar, let's see, actually the high of 150.106 and 150.109. So not exactly, but that's the kind of thing where I call that still an inside bar with a double top. So we'll see how that breaks. And again, clear lines in the sand for every individual name with the lower high that formed earlier last week. 154.04, anything under that, just a lower high, so bulls not getting too excited without a daily trend change. And we're looking at support of 149.79 and the recent low of 148.58. The fact that IWM clearly broke bearish is what increases the odds a bit for SPY to break bearish next week as well. And QQQ has already broken bearish, so support down here is 177.14. The weekly time frame is still in an uptrend here as well. 176.60 is that little weekly higher low on the way up where we had so much strength. And the question is, can the bulls hold that level and keep the weekly uptrend? Because right now we have weekly uptrends and daily downtrends, and that is a bit of a conflict, of course. I'm going to default to be watching the weekly uptrend as my major concern. And if that level is lost, then we will look for lower highs and lower lows for monthly consolidation. And oil is in that monthly equilibrium, certainly something to keep an eye on as well. So XLF had a bear break with no follow through, but we have our line in the sand very clear for XLF to try and shift momentum 27.21, almost a double top. And as anything under that is just a lower high, that's the level the bulls have to break to start shifting momentum. XBI is still in a tight pattern. This is one to be watching next week. I've really been liking LABU and LABD, the leveraged ETFs, for their trading volatility. And we did get a bull break on Friday, but just barely. That was 83.38, and we got up to 83.42. So essentially a triple top, 3 out of the last 4 days for that resistance level on XBI. And we have the double bottom down at 80.71 and 80.72. So really nice and tight. I'd like to see that get tighter for one more day on Tuesday with no trading on Monday for Memorial Day. And then a break on Wednesday would be ideal as far as getting some follow through from the really tight range. XLV on the daily time frame, again, condensing it down to the 2-day chart just for visual ease. We have our low, high of the bounce, higher low, and the question now is, are we going to form a lower high compared to 90.85? I think that's the most likely scenario. I think we're going to continue tightening up next week, and we'll look for a break early June on XLV, and if it's a bear break, that's going to shift the odds considerably for further market consolidation. So this is a very important pattern for me because it is so clear and it has been tightening longer than most other of the tightening patterns we've been watching. And looking at the volatility index, the question now is, can we get any follow through? We have the low of the pullback, which is a weekly higher low attempt, and on the daily time frame, we have the top of the bounce of 1810. So the bulls need to hold 1440 and break 1810, and it's almost setting up as a bit of an inverse head and shoulders pattern here. With the left shoulder, this would be the head, this would be the right shoulder. The only difference is we already broke resistance. I prefer my head and shoulders and inverse head and shoulders patterns to be trend changes when they actually confirm. I think that's more of a solid signal where we're going from lower highs and lower lows. The right neckline is just another lower high. The right shoulder is the higher low, and then you break the trend and change the trend, confirming that pattern. And it's the opposite with the head and shoulders as well. When we have higher lows and higher highs, if the right neckline already breaks support, it's not my ideal signal. I want the confirmation of those patterns to be the confirmation of the trend change. So that's what we got as we head into next week. The bears definitely have the upper hand. Oil's really bearish day on Thursday certainly ensured that SPY weakness would continue, and we're going to have a battle at 280 this coming week. And the question is, can the bulls hold on to that support level? I appreciate you watching. Have a good rest of your weekend. Happy long holiday weekend. And to all our servicemen and women out there, we appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.